So as some of you know who watch my channel, you've known me for a while, and those who don't, I am a huge sci-fi nerd. And so a couple of things on the walls in my sewing room I'm going to show you here and share with you, mainly because I'm not only excited to have them, but also so you get a glimpse into kind of more who I am and what other stuff I enjoy other than sewing. So when I say huge sci-fi nerd, so my dad was a big Star Trek fan when I was growing up, original of course, and and he did like the Next Generation as well. And so I kind of got into that. I enjoyed watching it with him. And he also enjoyed reading Anne McCaffery and the Dragonriders of Pern. And so going forward, I really enjoyed Star Wars. In fact, I am a 77 baby. So I was actually there for the premiere of the original Star Wars in 1977. Wasn't quite born yet, but I can say I was there. Anyway, and really enjoyed most of the movies. Make that a very yes. And for those of you who like Star Wars, you know which one I'm talking about. Anyway, so Star Trek, Star Wars, Farscape, Stargate, huge Stargate fan. Got the boxed 10 season collection when it came out. I want to say back in 2008, 2009, after they stopped production, after the season finale and everything. With the big Stargate on the front and everything. And my kids have really enjoyed watching through that, and Stargate Atlantis. Wasn't a big fan of Stargate Universe, but looking forward to, keeping my mind open with any iteration that they have coming in the future. And let's see, anything that has, some element of, the fantastical to it, or future stuff like that. Reading also is part of that. One of the series that I actually just finished reading about 3 months ago is the Expanse series. By James S.A. Corey. And I really, really enjoyed that. I really like the big, far-reaching, space opera type, futuristic series that you can really sink your teeth into. Right now, I'm finishing up the Vorkosigan saga by Lois McMaster-Bujold. As I stated earlier, I love reading Anne McCaffery. My husband really, really enjoys Brandon Sanderson, and as do I, along with quite a few other fantasy ones. And that's one of the things that what brought my husband and I together was our love of sci-fi and fantasy. And we had a lot of things in common as far as that goes, including a lot of books we had to get rid of because we both had copies of them. But one of the things my husband liked to brag about, especially to his coworkers and to his friends, was that his girlfriend had read Dune by Frank Herbert several times. And which, yes, I have read it several times, and I really enjoy it. And I looked forward to the new movie that was coming out, and look forward to the second part, which will hopefully be at the end of this year. Anyway, so with that being said, with that love of sci-fi and fantasy comes a real appreciation for the art that is on the covers of a lot of those books. That being said, my favorite artist is Michael Whelan. And if you are a sci-fi fan of reading sci-fi or fantasy, you know who I'm talking about. His art is just so evocative, and it just really delves right into the heart of that book. And a lot of his artwork just has so much depth to it, and he does a lot of stuff off the side too, not just for book covers and stuff like that. But I am going to show you two of the pieces that I have in my collection. They're not originals, they're copies, but I'm super glad to have gotten them, and they are signed. I believe they're signed. Yes, they are signed. But one you can kind of see behind me there. That is the cover of The Snow Queen by Joan D. Vinge. And The Summer Queen, the companion novel to that, is on the other wall. So I will show you a close-up of those. And then we also have some from the covers, from the books the Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. Those are actually in our dining room, and we've gotten several comments on them, especially from people who don't know who Michael Whalen is, and because they're very just, you can look at them for hours because there's so much depth to them and really speak to the world in which those books are set. So anyway, so I will show you close-ups of both of the art pieces that are in my sewing room. Okay, so this is the Snow Queen, and you can see even from this video that there is so much depth, especially to that mask that she's wearing, and even the background. You just see various images that aren't quite detailed, but they bring to mind. It's like, oh, you know, I wonder what that is. Anyway, this is the first book in that series, like I said, by Joan D. Vinge, and this is the Summer Queen. Which is it's actually the third book in the series, but it's like the second. Yes, a lot of them, the Snow Queen and the Summer Queen, come together without that middle volume, mainly because the middle volume is actually more of a novelette and just kind of ties the two together. But those are the two main books in the series. And again, just so evocative, and you wonder, it makes you really wonder. It's like, what is going on? So if you're into sci-fi, I highly encourage you, if you haven't read Joan D. Vinge and the Snow Queen series, I highly encourage it. It's one of those space opera types. The world building is excellent. The characters are excellent. Yeah, I really wish they would make a movie of this. But of course, like any, you know, translation into the screen, it's not going to live up to what a lot of people want.